Siwana gata, John Gawiski Vidawatoa, Jalagi Yetli, the love stane, Naski, the Garnest Diski, the Gayelge, Gaway Hona, Jalagi Gawoni is the Ejino, Agway Hona, Jalagi, the Golieti. Now you tell Lutely of that here, Jigia, say. No. A worst of the squaw. The Golieti, the go fellow, the leg, a worst of a worst of that squaw. Jalagi, the go fellow, now you Tasco tell of that here, Jigia, say. A let Tasco you that here, Nitagan nest is going. Hinat. Jalagi, Tiohelo ti, Naski, Juno Yoki, Dano say hoi, Segoya, Jawolupa Tunha, Nelsko Sudal, Juno Yoki, Segoya, Duolupa Tunha, Hinat the go well ti. Naski uwasi a yawi. Jawolupa taha. Gawani histi. Naski julosha ni juls tanasana. Jalagi yetli. Dinanel disk. Nigata. A gayi jalagi. A niwanisk. Undelqua ai. Ale. Nigata. Gilisi. Ale. Jalaki. Dino Hueliski. Ale. Dino Golieski. Hina anijalaki. Dina neltisk. Undalke, Nigatewe, go hoost, Jutalenant, to Johnel discoing. Hina to just a liscoing, Jalagili, a yetli. Jutani, Jundel quasti, Justi Jundel quasti, Jalagi yetli, Jalagi Jundel quasti. Oklahoma, Skadugi, Justi, di Skadugi, Uyo, Junhi Nerti, Ale, Nika Yawi, Dinehi, Dojus de Lisco, Hina, Nigatugu, Osio Gielas. Hina Nigatugu. Tojali heli che. Naski. Unatu tate wita. A yetli. Unatotlahi. Skohi yu de tiati. Nanehi juni wuni histi. Ogasu yesa. Naski. Jalagi yetli. Dinanel disk, Uniasti, Naski, Jalaki Gatti, Ogi Wanisti, Ogi no Helati. Naski, Ayetli, Duna Dotlasa, Ulagoti. Gesa, Naski, Ayetli du Dotlasa, Dinanel disk, Igoi, Wato. Hello everyone, I'm John Ross. I work for Cherokee Nation as a translator. My parents taught me to speak Cherokee, and my mother taught me to read in Cherokee when I was 12 years old. And I learned to write when I was 22 years old. And I have been translating for over 20 years. Sequoia developed the syllabaries. And Sequoia is the only man to ever create this written language single-handedly in history. The Cherokee Nation translators are all first language speakers, and they are all biliterate in English and Cherokee. The Cherokee Nation translators translate many different projects. We help Cherokee Nation, universities and colleges, public schools, Cherokee Nation Immersion School, the state of Oklahoma, and counties, and museums, and we also help people from all over the world, all over the countries. We all just want to thank the United Nations Decades of Indigenous Languages for selecting Cherokee Nation Translation Department to present in our own language our experiences as translators. We celebrate in honor of International Translation Day. Thank you.
Hva? Mors selv i dag da slaker de jo den her navtask I dag alene. Når skulle så la gå til unge skal han gøre så sidane og gå overklase. Skal danne og gå overklase. Det det til nigan så la gå til unge skal han. Så stikke. Det går han slaker. Så og get de der jo er hiskene de skal han. Så der hele de kaos. De nok I til det I til unge der går så her. Og når der er gået den her sig gæster, så de har går la, de der har sådan de lige så har sket til nok I USA der. Når jeg til her, der det går her. Jeg der har til lag de nok der går så når til lag der de nok igen. I de har der så sådan når til det er også det der når de lader så der de jo så der de nok I skal gøre der. Når der så de så I var til de så når der skal det går her. Så skal I gør det hen til at gøre vundet. Det når kan sige jo efter sen når det kommer hen til at give lidt dejligt stande. Jo lige når der det kommer de var heller de til at de går lige det når der ikke aktuelt sig gæster. Eller skal sige var sen til at give lidt daglænder her. Så der har tunnel du det til det gør I stande igen. Gå på at dele huske du ni stise der når så I gør når der er lavet stand her når du kan snakke her igen når jeg så her der var så der kan ordene der var så kan der så det lavet stand der skal stå det gør også jeg du der det så tager jeg dele så det giver det så når skal I der til der var så skal skulle gå I gør til det lige til ham skal når jeg så der når jeg nikker der og det her skive der den så der kan ordene sagt det det når skal gøre de læser kan de lige til han jeg der tal jeg vil jo der tal det så skal jeg den her når jeg så der er sådan til at gøre det går næste det skal der nå nu stykke her går næste det one her så det gælder I det sådan noget her det gælder snart det kan det starte der har det her her det den nó gì có nét thì họ nói bỏ nét tốt thế giáo tôi tao nét nó cái đó cái là cái cái đó cái thì nó nét tí cái này rồi giờ vừa kia cái nó want thân nhỉ cái nó với cái gì à thật đó cái này có thể nó cái lý rồi tao nét tí họ lát cái nó thì đó nó đây thì cái thôi lấy cái gì cả cố cái này nó taoจะรอcái nóจะlà cái cái hotel thì cái lợi cái tí là nè tao là cái gì tao sẽ ha là cho nên cái điều walk nữa cái lý rồi sao tôi tao nét tí ha từ lên hết cứ nó chỉ đó nó từ tốt thì nó tôi tao nét tí ha là cho nó tao là cái điều warning nó anh nói Oklahoma nè Scott từ đâu ra tao là cái nè nó đi được cơ tao tao lo có xem là cái nó cái tao nè lấy này hiểu chữ hiểu là khi nào walk cái skill tao chạy lên nó chạy lên là họ cái điều skill của anh thế khi anh cái đó này không cho tao hay là cái là thấy gì cái đó có hết thì cái đó là tao là cái quẹt thế cho tao tao là cái đó thì đi ăn đi họ thì có tao cái sẽ là cái điều cái này nó ý cái nó sẽ lý cái điều sẽ ha sẽ cái tao cái gì cái lý họ sẽ nó tao cái này cái giờ tao là cái cái rồi cái giờ tao vào cái cái sẽ nó cái đó này ha nó cái nó cũng ní hit nó radio đó đi hết cái này cái đó này cái này lo đến nó để thì có cái chúng ní cái nó cái nó tối cái lý cái từ nó squat like ai vậy thì đó thế ní có thể ní là cái điều thay đó hiện nay nó chỉ thế cái lo cái lý cái ní chúng ta thành cái gì là cái vấn đề này này cái điều thay đó từ nhiều người từ nhiều hỏi là nó ý gọi cái gì để qua el cái nó cái là nó tạo thế là cái vấn đề thế tạo cái auto sẽ đi sai này có để cái gì lý cho nó cái là nó là ấy nó để gì nó để cái lý chứ điều cái sẽ cái gì có sẽ nó cái auto là nó thì cái nó gì thế thì là cái gì nó cái sẽ nó cái lý cái nó cái đó anh ấy sao là cái gì cũng như cái nó tối cái lý cái sai là nó là hết nhau đều là cái hậu sẽ nó là cái vấn đề hết cái lý cái nó cái đó cái là cái từ school thì cái đó này sẽ nó có thấy gì nó hơi sẽ cái sẽ nó cái sẽ nó chủ sẽ nó do này cái nó chủ sẽ hello my name is Dennis Sixer and I work for the Cherokee Nation, and I was born in Jay, Oklahoma. And my first language, Cherokee, of course, and my parents and talked to us Cherokee and only Cherokee at the home. But then when we went off to school, we'd be English and come back and it'd be Cherokee again. And so that was the benefit that I had in my home. And but I think. When I first started Cherokee Nation, fast forward, when I started Cherokee Nation, been there for 31 years now. I didn't mention that while going Cherokee, but I will in English. And anyway, been there for 31 years, and I always appreciate this lady. She was my supervisor at the time. I was working in the mailroom, and she always told me that you know that your language, and you need, especially when I learned how to read and write, that you need to use that somewhere. I hate to lose you, but you need to do that, and I really glad that she encouraged me. And also going back to 5th grade in school, when I was going to school at Jay, there was a lady in there, and she always told us, Cherokee children, said, don't ever lose your songs or your language, she said. And every now and then she would ask us to sing songs in Cherokee, and we would. And I really enjoyed that because I was with the friends and that I go to church with, and we were church with back then, and so we would get there and sing some Cherokee songs. Then about 2000, I believe about 2001, I learned how to read and write, and that really helped me even further to learn my language. Because when I first went out to interview our elders at doing a radio program, I think I failed to mention that I do a radio program, been doing it for 18 years now. But when I first went out doing that, some man said something small, and a small statement in Cherokee. I couldn't even say it. I had to go back to my job, and back then I was using cassette tapes. I listened to tape, and I finally had to hear about 4 or 5 times before I could actually say, and it's just simple. I can say it easily now, but back then I couldn't. And that's this program that I do now. I really do that. I really enjoy that. And now I work in a translation department also, along with doing the RAID program. I do both in each week, you know. But in the translation department, we do a lot of translations, and I really appreciate that. Somebody might call me at work and say, "How do you say this?" and or a phrase or a sentence or maybe something even a little bit longer than that, and I'll have to get my coworkers to help me out sometimes, because sometimes I can't remember, and then we all just work together. And I'm so glad that I have those people to go to, and because when my mom was still living, I would always go to her and ask her, but now she's gone, and so now I rely on my translator coworkers to help me out. And also, a few years back, we did a speakers bureau. Different Cherokees from different communities throughout the Cherokee Nation would come. We'd all get together and translate some words also, and also even bigger than that, our Cherokee Nation, Katuas, and Eastern Band, North Carolina. We all get together, or used to get together before the pandemic. We all get together and translate. And I think right now we probably translate over 3,000 or 4,000 words in Cherokee that we didn't have before, for the immersion children and people who are coming, the second language learners, where they could have that for years to come. And then just overall, I just think I'm really grateful that we do have a translation department, and I'm able to do the RAID program, because I've met so many wonderful people through the RAID program. I've met a lot of elders, and a lot of weren't elders. Some of them were younger than me, still Cherokee speakers. I'm glad for that. But overall, I met a lot of people, some wonderful people, and I've learned a lot from them, hearing their stories, and I really appreciate them and everybody that's ever helped me. And I just thank Cherokee Nation for allowing us to have a translation department. And thank you. Wadon.
Osio, Luyin Sudali Dawadon. So like a yellow digila with Stane. Our Lena, Talyaga Young, Udetians, Adisa, come on the Carlin Gesa. Again, our Lena, Nagalos Danaha, Culture Resource Center on Oseha, and Hano our Lena. As can know, to Lena Gus knows a done, you, like you done Ellie, that's the Gesa. I let Digi Los and Newstana. I say no, Talihai, Jun Dodwaska, Lena, Tagala with Dana. Aska Uluchana newspaper go well the like disc, and Nana Uni. And the unit gita gets a wheelchair vest, you don't. A look at the harness, Tinana Lahuna to Uni no Helana, Udana. How was it, O Hela? Now, you know, our Lena, they honest, dear. As Canana, Jalaka Yetli, go well, Dani Lake Disca, our Lena. Our Lena, the honest, dear, go higa, you need no Helana. Yet then, Ujestaji, Warduja, Ganita Denahayu, go hig. Asena to the Lana good, Art Lapsans, Skandegas dot this can know, Slahawa, Slataha, you weird, go here, no, Ganita. As can I use you Lena good, I want Helena and Nana, not go well, Junie like Dotti, or Nana Gagana Wistana. No, at Lisa, to the Lana good, no, Ascanan Nicadane, alla Dagalastane, Nana, Ascanana, Daganesti. No one, Talyagayal, Chanel, Udetias, Lisa, Dr. Neil Morton, Judoket, Julastane, Ulusta, Talehayun, was the Latla, Gesa, Tajis to ease, Nana, our daily guest, which I used and did not have this, Uga, was like Udana. How was it, your Hella? How one had done a scarcely with he lost Ulucha, as can know, Negat Hiltana, Huida, and Nana taste no Canasula, and Nana there's a lost on the hest, our Hella. Now, you know with the Lena, as can not those on health disc or Gadaska, let you the Lena, good those on health coherence, no less go. See, Kalau used to Lena to get na Gigi like to go well or the keyboard. Nana organautan Lisa Nagar to go well and to go well or the. As can no use to learn her, goose got down the hand dagger stana hand, see down with Loy. No one na you or Lena her, no, you got to near at least on the hand has this. Cohen oils is Nakia, his guy, no zing, so down has disc. To the land not goose go well, dagger alle those arnest de har used to get. The gods are like a year leads in New Zealand called Junana Sketchy Kanakti. Alle Junia Stitchy Lana Goose. So like a year Una Skate Goose and Hana those arnest de used to get. Alle school. The lip garden to they go well on a teacher like school the garden and a joke well on a joke on Nestana. Askano Nicatana, I can well enough, I can lump stana, I can lump to know, ask you what the no one know coherence and no to the land goose, scared goose, a long do you start or down at disco. Used to you lose. No, it's a done now. You gotta know. No storybook Alice in Wonderland which I walked over Neltana. As can know yes, Sawa Udaska, our Neltana. As can know to Lena, good yogi Namston, knows a turn a home, a long who do you test good Lord. To Lena, goose the walk didn't take a look go, a land knows a turn a hot doors on his disco. As can know I dag a lump stana when I stand. Kesa agelukt alle I sons like to one is kesa. Alle dagger del squaska school yadaha. La os uniela say I know the like to one is alle yes lay on it go on you go league. I say now as can no news I doggy love stane alle usanigit dogada to or just daily score doggy love stane. My name is Anna Sixkiller. In the year of 2000 of April, I started work for Cherokee Nation. I first started working for the Cultural Resource Center, which we did a lot of researching in different things and going out and finding things. And then we went to schools. We went to different places like to teach the culture and also the language. After I started working there, in about 2 weeks, a guy from the newspaper came in and asked me if I could translate the traditional story, like how the possum lost its beautiful tail, just stories like that. And I started doing that. And so I started working for the newspaper as well, translating stories for years. And I'm still working for them as well and doing different translation though at this time, but I like doing that. That's my job. I guess I am just glad that I am Cherokee and that I was reader and writer and speaker of the language, and I have used that in my job, getting things across to the Cherokee people, and then them reading the stories that we have developed, and then in the year of 2008. Dr. Neil Morton came to my office and asked, and told me, he didn't ask me, he told me that in a couple of weeks I am going to open a translation department and I want you to go in there. I said, okay. And that's when the first translation department started in the year of 2008. So I started working in there. And shortly after, a man and a woman, which is David and Phyllis, came in there to work with me. So we have been working together since then, translating whatever comes into the office. And I like doing that. We have tons and tons of different things that we have translated, and then we've translated the different things, even the Windows 8 that we did a lot of work and with that, and there's a lot of big project that has come in, and we have translated all the big projects as well as anything that comes in. in the middle of Tahlequah town, there is a museum. And everything that is in there is in Cherokee, and it's translated. It took about 2.5 years to translate everything that is inside there, that is named, and it's telling what it is and what it does. And we've done that. So things like that, everything around Tahlequah or everything around the world that is in Cherokee has probably come through the office, and it has come to the office. And we've translated those. And I like doing that. And when I was growing up, just like I said, I spoke the language, and have been speaking and have been using my language since I started working there. And I enjoy doing all that I do. And I like all the people I work with. And I like my boss.
Atala Chiwoniski, Niga Sudanela, or Jehu, Atalak or Chiwoniski, so Digatu, Digatayos, Digatu, Digago, Jokadu, Judetia, Dagalovstaneho, Ahan, Jalak Ayeti. Die nachnächtig und dort lassen. Ich gehe noch ausgenickt agile so. Na zu den Leute dort auch nächtig zu lernen go huste. Dort auch nächtig zu lernen go huste. Udali ha ni ga dort als dailies go do gilo stane. In total stailis gunjiki stikat o staio no gal stan he ho kilo nuglei un ost uesti lole un heltotti kanesti kese skinno anamne ga total stailis gon no un igar he on Tessa, John Laney on Delquasca at the Lagoon Unimoni Histi. Igao Gessa got the Lieli Cheho, just die, Tinandene on Eltisca un Delquasti, Unessa Unimoni Hisketinella. I'm Phyllis Edwards, and I'm from Marble City, Oklahoma. I have been working with the Cherokee Nation Language Department for 13 years. We work on a lot of different projects, like signage for the hospitals, signage for streets, and other projects. And we do try to work together as a group. Sometimes we have to, because there are so many words that have not been translated, and we all have to agree on this word that can be used, like in a sentence, or if we want to use it like in the speech or whatever. We work with Eastern Band, the Katuas, and they too go to North Carolina with us to do the same thing, work on words. They have their own way of saying their words, and we have ours, so when we translate words, they say it the way they do, and we keep what we say. But I am glad that the younger generation is trying to learn the language that was given to them. And I always tell them, you have to commit make a commitment to yourself that you want to do this, because nobody else can do it for you. Thank you.
Siêu scan hết đạo đâu the God I also the gay go ana what sa OGC down Ellen the God just like a new one is ka na hales ku daw de kwa na God I also jun de kwa stick out la na jalge ha yun tu ni lang sta na the gola ta god ga jalak na no le still ta si de ha de kwa Sgwai jgwole wata they like to go well at least the guy how way on they go le de na here de go le ho alen de go well is go like skino klai no out of city ha what tan again ho no gal da da the no ga ha jalaga yetli ane juni lawstane ka got no tana ka gnatla na hanana jalaga yetli daglafstane ho no skolosers ju det igen daglafstane ho no nana te kaneltis ka goel julahisana skena do janeltis ko helask inad judal no le judelena go hus jundel kwasti kalulana go hus taneltana skena justani te ho skenan gadane ho ale nagat sago dogilastan ho na jogilastane no le jalaga weti doji steli ho you tal you walk doji losko udetia sedi ha ana woje do doji steli ha jalaga weti ane no le jun than jun da kwa sede go tla ha skena doji steli ho no le wet tas kon go da go wel ni na tin heltana skeno jadane ho ga do ga le ho o dogilastane han no le te go wel jun to jun da lo kwaste jun stijuni go le et skusken de ga nelti sko ya lesko iga de kaksteli ho skun gadane ho daglastane ho na jalaga yetli sko losers na de tin daglastane ho na ga jalaga oji wonis no lesko jun tanit dan de kwasko askena agji stelisko dan de hoska no le ega jili no hetti ho din de la kwaskena gaji yosko university go hus Yunal university gaji yosko ajalaka ga gaji no sa ho skun gadane ho no le ko hejit no ko hi go no lesko jalag ani wonis tanis steliska jun tan askena gaji stelisko de golsa ani jalag ani wonis no le Judelan ha do ska use gus no dan ha do jan nelti no le oji woniska do jet loska ayuk jahili do ha se skin galstis kanjega ha sina judal do jet loska jalak ni woniska do do tla wadisa diskade do jundelan ha ani lukkan ha jalak yatli hanan do gilafstan ha sawon ga do jat no heska walt go hus dogi ela ha skuiga no jadane ha sena hiu hilos na hiu guska no unios tanas kinan tla no do jat los kon no skiga sku yiga jino halo gela wado my name's David Crawler. I grew up in Marble City, Oklahoma. Went to school there, little school, Marble City. Spoke Cherokee there. A lot of the workers that worked there at the school, like the bus driver, the teachers, they all spoke Cherokee. Some teachers spoke Cherokee. It was always Cherokee there. Didn't lose language. And then later on in life, I came to work with the Cherokee Nation as a translator. And I worked there for more than 10 years now, and work with the language and work with the Eastern Band, Cherokee Indians in North Carolina, consortium group. We meet twice a year, work with them, share words and new words, old words, forgotten words. That's part of what I do, work for the Cherokee Nation, translate for the Cherokee Phoenix, and, do little children's books, workbooks, just work for a Microsoft project, and just a lot of different things like that, and just little things that the schools need and public schools need, translations for Cherokee stuff, their Cherokee CLMAP program, help out the teachers, and a lot of stuff people forget. Sometimes I forget. We help each other remember words and stuff like that, old words. And that's what I do as a translator. And then, where I learned to read and write was my grandmother. She taught me how when I was a real young child, and she taught me how to read and write Cherokee. And we didn't have too much paper, so she'd write on the ground, and that's how I learned. And she had a different style of writing. It's kind of some people see it as difficult to read, but that's how I learned to read and write, is the way she wrote. She used double lines, and that's kind of like a art a little bit, and that's the way I write today. And that's where I learned from her. She taught me all of that. Wado skuna.
Sio, Sakochi Davado, Deliqui Chanela. My name is Sammy Steele. My given name, my English given name is Sammy Steele. I was given my Cherokee name by my grandmother. When I was very young, I spoke the Cherokee language fluently. I spoke it with my parents, my grandparents, and my family as I grew up. But when I got to the age of 6 years old, then I had to start school. And when I started school, they wanted me to quit speaking Cherokee, and a lot of times I was made fun of speaking my Cherokee language. And a lot of times they wouldn't let me go out for recess unless I spoke English. So then I started learning how to speak English. And a lot of the Cherokee words that I knew, I started beginning to forget. And so as I grew up older, then a lot of them, most of my language was English. But as I got older and started going to school, I finally realized when I got to college that I wanted to go back to my tradition, my culture, and I wanted to go back and speak my language again. So I started going back, and I went to work for Cherokee Nation. And I worked for Cherokee Nation for 24 and a half years. And in that 24 and a half years, I went to work for the Language and Culture Department, where I started to speak my language again, started learning my culture, my tradition, and I felt more comfortable there. And so that's where I'm working at today, is in Cherokee Translation Department. It's in the Cherokee Language Department. And so I started working there, and I enjoy working there with my fellow workers. I work there and we speak our language, and we we sit and visit, and we do all sorts of things in our Cherokee language. But that's how I got interested in wanting to learn my language again. And I really didn't forget my language, and my grandparents and my parents would always say, you'll never forget your language. You'll always be able to speak your language. So that's why I really enjoy what I'm doing today. I go and I do, I help my co-worker Dennis Sixkiller with editing the Cherokee Bible. I help Anna Sixkiller and David Crawler with my some words that we translate from English into Cherokee. And I just finished laying out and designing a book that my supervisor, Roy Boney, was wanting me to do. And we've gotten some stories from our Cherokee elders, and we printed those in Cherokee and the phonetics and in English, and it should be coming out pretty soon. but it's a book that I'm proud of. I'm proud that we did, and that I got the opportunity to do that, because it's something I've been wanting to do most of my life, and it's to share our Cherokee's stories from our elders. I visit our elders quite a bit. We go out into communities and we visit and talk, and they share things with me. They give me, they teach me their teachings, and I learn more language again, and able to speak Cherokee with them again, and feel real comfortable with that. So it's something that I really hold dear to my heart, and it's my culture, my tradition, and of course my language. The language itself, we go by the syllabary, and we go by the syllabary chart that the Sequoia had created, and we learned how to write and to read through that syllabary that we teach others to learn how to speak and write the Cherokee language. Storytelling, when we do storytelling, a lot of times people want to hear how the Cherokee language is spoken, and sometimes we'll tell the stories in Cherokee. And of course, a lot of them don't understand what we're saying when we do speak our language, so sometimes we have to repeat it in English. And they understand it that way. Or so a lot of times we write it out in phonetics as well, so that people can read phonetics and understand the language that way as well. But if we can, we try to teach them to learn the syllabary, and using the syllabary and reading and writing the syllabary. And we tell stories too in Cherokee, and a lot of times our stories that we tell, our elders would say, "Alawayu jagesa inaget anea jalagit aniwaniske uno hetland." So that's how they start their stories. They would say, long time ago, when animals talked to us, they spoke in the Cherokee language, and this is how we heard these stories. And that maybe one day when we sit out in the woods, or we'll sit out in the backyard, we sit down and we listen again, we hear the birds chirping or the squirrels chattering, maybe they'll come back to us again and they'll tell us more stories. And this is how we start our stories. And so this is different ways that we do. And I belong to what we call the Turtle Islands Liars Club. And it wasn't really a club, it was just a four men that got together, and we did storytelling. We talked about our history, our culture, and we even talked about our crafts that we made. There was a former Deputy Chief Hastings Shade, and there was Sequoia Guest. They're both now deceased, but we think of them all time, always. But they did, Sequoia did the storytelling, Hastings did the history, the culture, and the government part of it. Woody Hanson, he did the handling of snakes, and he talked about the safety of handling snakes. Myself, I did crafts. I did bow making, stickball making, blowguns, and so forth. Even make baskets, but now I do more storytelling. Now that we're the only two left from that group, but we traveled all over the United States, going and telling stories and doing our crafts and telling our history, and so we keep our tradition and our culture real close to us, because that's who we are. That's our identity. And we try to keep our language, and that's why I'm so thankful to be working in the translation department with the language department, because if we lose our language, we cease to be who we are. And so it's really important that we keep our language alive. And there's not very many first-speaking language-speaking Cherokees left. We're losing them every day. So it's really important that we keep our language alive so that we can identify ourselves as Cherokee people.